right. Well, we can go ahead and get started. Good morning, and thank you all for coming. My name is Wade Cornett. I am the ITSM practice lead here at Expium, and today we are going to be talking about Jira Service Management for ITSM. This webinar sort of builds on itself from a webinar that actually happened last week named Jira Service Management Fundamentals. I can drop a link to the chat if you'd like to watch that on our YouTube channel. The difference between the webinar that you find yourself in today and the one that happened last week is today we're going to be talking about specifically the ITSM feature set for Jira Service Management. We're going to take a look at a service management demo, an incident management demo, a change management demo, and briefly touch on the assets database. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into it here. I just talked about that. So Jira Service Management for ITSM, we're going to be talking about a couple of products here today in this demo. The first one is obviously Jira Service Management. We're going to hit on automation for Jira, Opsgenie, and assets. You can see here that my slide is a little bit out of date because the assets management database used to be named Insight, but it has been updated and changed to assets. So like I said, we're going to be demoing service request management, incident management, and change management today. A little bit about us. Our company's name is Expium, and we are a Platinum Solutions partner with Atlassian. Expium offers training solution, consulting, as well as custom development around Atlassian products. So we're just going to go ahead and get started here with our first demo, which is going to be service request management. Now, who is this for? Typically, it's for your service teams or your IT teams. And the challenge that a lot of these teams are facing is the ability to easily track and manage assets as well as services relating to those assets. The solution using the assets database and Jira Service Management is just going to easily integrate the two and reference your database objects on your Jira Service Management tickets. So today we're going to look at the tools that are going to accomplish that, and that's going to be Jira Service Management, assets, and automation for Jira. So I'm going to jump out of my slide deck here. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're actually doing a new concept today, which is why I forgot about this. But we're actually offering a prize. And our prize today is this MagCube Pro, which is a MagSafe charger if you have an iPhone. A newer iPhone, so this magnets to the back of your phone, and it's got a little kickstand on it. So if you stay to the end, we'll be sending this out to whoever wins this. And my project coordinators are going to be putting the winner's name in the chat. So apologies for the interruption. I forgot about that. Okay, so jumping over to my demo environment, I'm going to come to my IT service desk. And I'm going to jump out to our portal. And so for the sake of this demo, I'm going to be requesting a new laptop. So I'm going to come here to my Help Center's portal for my IT service desk, and I'm going to submit a request for a new laptop. If you were with us last week, you will have been walked through exactly what you are seeing here today, but essentially we're presented with this form-based experience to fill out. And the very first question that I'm asked is my reason for requesting a new laptop. And in this case, I'm going to say that the reason I'm asking for a new laptop is because my equipment was damaged. I can provide any additional details to that, such as how I broke my laptop. Maybe I spilled water on it. And then down below that here, I'm asked which model would I like? And I want to stop briefly and point out how this specific field is different than this field you see here. It does present as a drop-down field, but this is what Jira and Atlassian considers an asset object field. So this field specifically displays asset database objects here on our portal or within our custom field. The beauty of this field and the reason it's slightly different is you can actually scope this field using AQL or the assets query language. Similar to JQL, just slightly different. But in this case, I'm showing a list of laptops that my organization currently has in stock. So we have a MacBook Pro 13-inch, 16-inch, and a ThinkPad Carbon. Now, we may offer more laptops within our organization, but we're only displaying the ones here that actually have a specific label of in stock. So maybe there was, I don't know, a Dell that could be offered and somebody selected it during their last request and it's actually currently out of stock. We're not going to display a laptop to request to our customers if it isn't actually available. So we can actually tailor what is displayed in this field using the object field. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and select that I want a MacBook Pro 16-inch. I like a little bit of a bigger screen. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this request. All right. Again, if you were with us last week, you would have been walked through everything that you're seeing here today, but essentially this is the ticket submission screen. So after a customer is submitting their ticket, they're going to be presented with the form that they've completed and the information that they provided, as well as an activity log and the status of the ticket and potentially some transitions that they can actually execute on from the portal. In this case, my request that I just submitted actually requires an approval. So from my perspective as a customer, all I can see is that this request is requiring one approval before it can be actually transitioned to in progress and a laptop is administered to me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to navigate to the agent side as opposed to being on the customer-facing portal. Give it a second to load here. All right, so now what we're seeing is the agent side, or actually the back end of Jira Service Management. You can see that there are quite a bit more details displayed for the agents, the users that do have a Jira Service Management license, and the ones that are going to be fulfilling this request. So I can see the summary of the request, which in this case is a new laptop request. And all of the fields that have been provided by the user that submitted the ticket. In this case, the reason obviously was the equipment was damaged because I spilled water on it. But what I want to show you here is relatively unique, and this is that asset object field. You can see how it displays a little bit differently than all of the other fields within Jira. And if I expand on this, we can see that there is actually quite a bit more information displayed rather than a relative, as opposed to a Jira custom field. And that is going to be the information related to the asset object specifically. So I can see the vendor, such as Apple, the screen size, the CPU, the RAM, and the storage. But also what I was kind of hinting at on the portal was this offered status. So like I told you, we're only displaying objects in that field out there that are labeled as in stock. So when I selected this laptop, the status was actually updated to being offered from in stock. That way, if this was the last model that we had, a user that would submit a laptop request after me would not be able to select this individual laptop. So kind of cool. Moving down to the right, obviously we can see our SLAs. You probably heard about all that last week. And then moving on down here, we can actually see who is required to approve this request. And because of how we've built our assets database, it automatically went to my manager, Brian Dar, for approval. And I'll show you how we did that here in just a few minutes. But below that, which I get the most excited about, is this affected equipment. Now, the affected equipment field is also an asset object field similar to laptop models. But what's different about this is my specific laptop, the one that I am currently using, the one that I currently broke because I spilled water on it. So we can see the object's name, the serial number, when the warranty expires, but also that the status of my laptop has actually been marked as damaged. So when I submitted my request and the reason that I was requesting a new laptop was damaged, it marked my current equipment as damaged using automation for Jira. So basically, to sum this up, what has happened is when I submitted my request, automation ran. It found my specific user, Wade. It also found the laptop that I was currently using, and it updated the status of that laptop to be damaged and automatically populated this field named affected equipment. And then also it updated the status of my MacBook Pro 16-inch that I requested. So as you would have seen on the last call, somebody can approve this. Brian would have to be the one to approve this, or I could update this and approve the request myself. But what I actually want to do, and might be a little bit more valuable to you guys, is if I jump to the assets database now, I can look and show you guys how some of this is built out. So assets for Jira Service Management is an asset and configuration management database. It's also a relational database, and it can act as many different things. In this case, we have an example of a CRM, a CMDB, as well as listing out all of our employees, which is what I want to show you guys first. So all of our internal employees are built out as what are considered asset objects. And if I navigate down to myself here within this list, I can see some key information about myself, such as my name, my employment status, my Jira user, where I'm located, which is St. Louis, the department I'm in, and my manager. So when I submitted that laptop request, automation for Jira ran and pulled my manager and automatically set him as the approver for that service request. It also found the laptop that is referenced to me in a separate object schema and listed that out as my affected equipment. So here that is right here. And now this lives in a separate object schema within the database. So I can see all of the relevant information there, such as the status of it being damaged. And then I can also expand this view into an object graph, so I can drill down into myself or drill down into any one of these objects, such as location. So I can see, if I drill down into St. Louis, I can see all of my other coworkers within the St. Louis location, as well as if I click on them and drill down into them individually, all of the assets that they are currently using and assigned to. So very, very cool. Using automation for Jira, we can automatically pull asset information and set relevant fields and update our asset objects. So if I come back to my ticket now, Things seem to be running a little slow today. I can come back to my new laptop request, and I could just update. I could update the approver to add myself because I am an admin and I have all the power, and remove Brian, and then go ahead and approve this request and transition it to waiting for support, and actually run this request through its life cycle and administer the laptop to myself. So that is just going to be a quick high-level overview of how you could potentially use automation for Jira Service Management, and the assets database to do service request management. So I'm going to jump back to my slides really quickly, and we're going to jump to talking about the next demo. And in this case, it's incident management. So who is this for? Typically, it's going to be for your IT operation. It's going to be for your IT operations teams. And the challenge that a lot of people are facing is the ability to quickly respond and get things back up in an operational state if you are experiencing an outage on one of the services that you're monitoring. So the solution here is going to be essentially managed alerting and tracking deployments using service relationships and incident command center and integrated communications. And the tools that we're going to use to accomplish that are going to be Jira Service Management, Opsgenie, and Statuspage, and also complements for problem management. That being said, I'm going to do a brief demo, and then in the middle of the demo, I'm going to break, and I'm going to just kind of point out some of the high-level feature sets, and then we'll wrap this demo up again. So there might be a little context switching, but I think it's worth you guys seeing everything that you're going to get with the incident management feature set. So if I jump back to my service desk and I jump back out to the portal, I can come here, and in my portal offering, my request offering here, I've got a portal group named Servers and Infrastructure. And within that, I have this option to report a systems problem. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this. So here again is that form-based experience where I can summarize the problem. In this case, maybe I'll just say I am having trouble with the website. And we can see there are some knowledge base articles that have been suggested to me, such as adding a gift card to the website. That doesn't seem to be my problem. So I'm going to go ahead and finish filling out my my incident here. Describe what happened and how it occurred. Well, I'm not really sure, which is why I am coming to you guys. And then here, this is another special field. And this field is the affected services field. It is an asset object field, but it operates ever so slightly differently in the fact that the assets database is included on Jira Service Management Premium. However, to do incident management, you do need the ability to build out services, and that feature set is stored, those services that you're monitoring are actually stored in the assets database, but you do not have to have Jira Service Management Premium to do incident management and to track and manage your services. So this is an asset object field, only it doesn't say that it is. So I'm going to go ahead and select my affected service. And in this case, I'm going to choose that I'm having a problem with the website. Now, It's possible that I don't know the relationships between services. There could be a whole host of downstream services that depend on the website. Using automation for Jira, I could also create incidents and link those together that have a downstream dependency on the website. Or yeah, I have the ability to add an attachment, and I can specify how urgently this needs to be fixed, as well as the impact of the problem. And I can go ahead and submit my request. Again, here is that ticket submission screen that we've seen a couple times now. And full disclosure, it looks like somebody didn't update the last time that they did this demo, and Statuspage is saying that the website is down. Now, we were going to look at Statuspage in a little bit later, but we'll go ahead and look at this now. So using Statuspage, which is another Atlassian product, we can display here on our portal that, hey, status alert, the website is actually down. So hopefully, in this case, if I was paying more attention, I would not have ever needed to submit an incident because someone had already done it for me, and I can view the downtime of that service, as well as any other past incidents. Okay, not to get off on a tangent. Let's get back to the agent side and talk about some of the feature sets of incident management within JSM. Okay. Again, we see our ticket submission form that our customer has submitted to us here in this box. And additionally, we see that that kind of special field that I called out, which is affected services. And it has my website service listed out here. Again, this is one of those asset object fields, so there are other data points that we can display here. And we can see on this field that there are actually 12 other open incidents on this website service that we're monitoring. So we can also see that it's a tier 1 service. If we had our stakeholders listed out here, we could see them. If we had our designated change approvers listed out here, we could see them. But just know you can reference more information as well as visualize at a very in a very quick manner the number of incidents that are active on your services, if there are any. The goal here is to quickly identify a potential cause of your incident, which is why Jira Service Management is displaying all of this information to us. So to aid in that, another feature set that is coming across is this box here, which is going to show us changes on affected services. So what this does is it's going to show us any changes, any recent changes that have been made to the website service. Obviously, all of these are a little bit old. They're older than 6 months. But we could quickly navigate to these change requests, view the implementation plans, the backout plans, the test plans, and see what was actually changed and potentially identify that as a potential cause of why this service is experiencing an outage. So just one of the tools that Atlassian gives you to identify a root cause quickly. In addition to that, it is a relatively newer feature that for some reason I always seem to struggle with if you've watched any of my past videos. But it is this investigate feature, where if you have one of your CI/CD pipelines, such as Bitbucket, connected to Jira Service Management, you can view your past deployments and identify those as a potential cause, as well as jump directly into your tool, whether it be Bitbucket, GitHub, you name it, and view exactly the code that was deployed to hopefully identify that cause or make a change and deploy new code to production to resolve this incident. So we can see here we're presented with this timeline view of our past successful deployments. So I can jump back in time and see that there was a deployment last week, a deployment 2 weeks ago, a deployment 3 weeks ago, and any one of these could be a potential cause for the trouble or the incident that I'm experiencing. So I can click into this. I can see that it was deployment 142 to our production environment, and it was successful. So I could identify this as a potential cause, and it just adds a little yellow dot there flagging that for me. Or I could jump directly over to Bitbucket and view exactly what was deployed. And we'll get into Bitbucket here a little bit later, but just know that this investigate feature exists if you are connecting your CI/CD pipelines. I'm gonna just casually call out some of the features that are included within any tier of Jira Service Management using the incident management feature. I think it's hilarious the amount of times I say management during these demos. So maybe take a shot. The first feature set here is going to be the major incident. What this does is it's a flag that, and kind of a label, a flag that you can toggle on if you deem this to be a major incident. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to route it to a different queue. So currently all of our incidents come into our open incidents queue, but if that toggle is toggled on, it will route the ticket to a specific major incidents queue where different teams can be notified, different responding teams can be notified to help swarm around this incident and hopefully get it resolved as quickly as possible. So this was the one I submitted today, jumping back into that. Moving on down the line, we have this new conference call feature. Essentially what this is going to do is it's linked to Opsgenie's conference bridge. So if I were to click start a call, what it's going to do is open a conference bridge over in Opsgenie, which is going to persist for the life of the incident, and it will be joinable by anyone that has access to this ticket. So when they enter this session, everything that happens within here, such as all the meeting chat, will be recorded and able to be logged within your post-incident reviews, either on the Jira ticket, or if you would like to export all of these logs to Confluence, you can do that as well. But we have the ability within the conference bridge to add responders directly to this. So if we need more hands on deck, we can go ahead and add them to this call and get them notified and get them up to speed as quickly as possible. So I can leave this conference bridge chat, but we'll see on the ticket that it is actually still active. So this conference call is going to be live and active for the entire time the incident is ongoing. Specifically, you do not have to have a meeting platform such as Zoom, Google Meets, what have you, to utilize that feature. That is included with any tier of Jira Service Management, and it is a really, really cool feature. If you do not want to use Opsgenie's conference bridge, you could also connect a Zoom or Microsoft Teams and have the same features and functionality. In addition to that, on that topic, you can manually, you can click create chat channel. And if you have Slack connected, it will create a channel specific to this incident over in Slack. Or you can use automation for Jira to also do that for you whenever an incident is raised. And the same applies for Microsoft Teams. You can connect that Teams channel as well. The last thing I want to call out here, which is just a different unique feature option, is going to be the ability to inform stakeholders. So when we create our services that we're monitoring, we list out any key stakeholders, and using the incident management feature set, we now have a third common option, which is the ability to notify those stakeholders. So I can just say, what is the latest status of the incident, and then maybe provide them some brief information, hopefully that this ticket is going to be resolved immediately. Okay, I want to take a minute and jump over to Opsgenie and just walk through that just ever so quickly. But I am running slightly short on time here. So Opsgenie is included within all tiers of Jira Service Management. And essentially what you're going to get, Opsgenie is an alerting tool that sits between you and your monitoring tools. So you can create an integration between, I don't know, SolarWinds, Azure, AWS server, and monitor that. And whenever that service experiences an outage, that will automatically create an alert within Opsgenie. It can automatically create a ticket within Jira Service Management and notify the appropriate responding teams. So looking at the incident that I raised, it did create an alert within Opsgenie. Going through this quickly, I can see the elapsed time, the activity log, the responder states, and that Brian was notified. He didn't do anything with it. And I saw it, but I also haven't done anything either. I could act this alert. That would be the smart thing to do. Yeah, so a lot of features here within Opsgenie. I am slightly short on time, so what I just want to do really quickly is jump over to Teams here, which is the heart of Opsgenie. Within a team, you can build and customize routing rules, escalation policies, and on-call schedules for your responding teams to be notified whenever a service goes down. There are also a whole host of out-of-the-box integrations within Opsgenie. So I'm just going to quickly scroll through this list. You guys might see some that you are using, and all of these integrations exist out of the box so that you can quickly connect Opsgenie to any of your monitoring tools so that you can automatically create alerts whenever there's an outage. So all the big players are in here. Nagios, SolarWinds, Splunk, you name it. There's just about everything here. But I will say, if you are using a tool that is not listed in this list, you can use the API integration to actually build your own integration between Opsgenie and one of your tools. So just know that these integrations are here and they are fairly robust. Another thing I want to call out is the heartbeat feature of Opsgenie. Essentially what this is going to do is Opsgenie is going to ping a service that you're monitoring. In this case, my heartbeat was pinging Nagios. And so long as it gets a reply back from Nagios, everything would be fine and left alone. But if it pinged every 10 minutes and I never got a reply from Nagios back, it would automatically create an alert that there was an outage with Nagios. So heartbeats are pretty cool. The last feature that I want to call from Opsgenie here is actions. So actions, well, they can essentially be scripts that you can run to perform some sort of action. A common example that I like to use is, if you're experiencing a problem with your website and it's a known problem, you're like, oh man, the website's down again. I just need to restart AWS and everything will be fine. Essentially, you can run an action directly from Opsgenie, directly from your mobile phone, with the click of a button to automatically restart AWS and get the website back up and running. So really great and robust feature set here within Opsgenie. So definitely explore that, and it is included with any tier of Jira Service Management. Okay, I'm going fast, but we are going to stop here with incident management. We could automatically create a problem ticket when this was closed, create a post-incident review, push that over in Confluence, but I want to just quickly jump into change management, which is my favorite demo here. And it's a little bit of a unique demo too. So change management, who is this for? It's going to be for change managers, developers, you name it, anybody that is going to be making a change to a service, they're pretty much involved in the change management process. The challenge around that is one, managing risk, coordinating those changes, and just easing the overall bureaucratic effort. There's so much that goes into submitting a change request. What would be nice is if we could automate some of that. And today I'm going to be showing you how you can automate standard change requests and normal change requests using Jira Service Management, Bitbucket, and automation for Jira. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump over to, well, I'll just go ahead and here create a ticket in my my Scrum projects backlog. Okay, so let's pretend I'm a developer here, and maybe my organization has recently branched out into some European markets, and I'm starting to hire European employees. Well, I need to pay them in euros. So I need there's a new feature request in my backlog as a developer to add the euro to our payroll system. All right, let's just say that that's what's going on. So maybe I have a request in my backlog to add euro to payroll currency. And I'm just going to go ahead and create this request. And I'm going to jump to my issue now. Let's go ahead and say that this request is ready to work. So this feature has been approved. I can automatically start doing my thing. And what I need to do is jump over to Bitbucket. So I'm in Bitbucket now, and I'm going to come to my, my payroll repo. Here I can see some source code, and I'll be honest with you, it is not source code at all. It is just plain text. So I am going to just make a change here to this text file and add maybe my last name under who do I talk to. In this case, it's going to be me. But we're going to pretend that this is some code that I'm going to be deploying to my production environment. So I'm going to go ahead and commit these changes. And in my commit message, I'm just going to go ahead and say added euro to payroll service per SSP-63. So SSP-63 is the ticket that I have created for myself to add the euro to the payroll system. So I'm making a reference to that issue key here in my commit message. Now, what that does is, give it just a second. And I do apologize, this demo does take kind of a minute to actually deploy our code. But we can see here that if we look at our pipeline view, we can see that that this code is currently being deployed to our production environment. But if I jump back here to my ticket that I submitted, and if I refresh my screen, we can see that there has actually been one commit that has been mentioned on this Jira ticket. So maybe I'm a Scrum Master and I want to see what Wade's been up to, what have you. I can view this commit and see exactly what he's been working on, as well as the commit message. or dive directly into the repo and view whatever code he committed. So that's one thing, an integration between Bitbucket and Jira. But what we're here to really talk about today is change management. So I'm going to take a look and make sure that this code is actually deployed. It's deploying right now. So we're just going to give it one more second. And one thing I forgot to mention while we wait for this is if you guys have any questions at all, please put them down in the Q&A. And I tend to leave about 10 minutes for questions, but we might be cutting it close here today. So if you do have questions, Kylie will be putting my email in the chat and I will reach back out to you guys there. But I will try to get to them here shortly. So my code has been completely deployed to production. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, you never submitted a change request. Well, you'd be wrong. So if I come back to my IT service desk and I look at my closed changes queue, I can see that a change was automatically created for me. So we can see that deployment 35, which is the code that I just deployed, to my production environment. That is the name of my change request. It references the information as well as a link to Bitbucket here in the description. It also pulls my, my payroll as my affected service because I was making a change to that service. Now, my payroll service is actually a tier 3 service. So we've said that for this service, you know, these are known changes. We can, all of these changes related to this services are going to be standard changes, which as we all know, do not require it to go through CAB or an approval process. So when I deployed this code to production, it automatically created my change request for me. And when it was successfully deployed, marked the change as completed and set the resolution to done. So some pretty, you know, impressive efficiency gains there around submitting standard changes. You don't actually have to go through, submit the change request. It references the change calendar so that it's not going to, you know, impact any other pending changes, you name it. All done using automation for Jira, Bitbucket, Jira Software, and Jira Service Management. I have one more thing that I want to show you guys, which is my favorite, hands down, you know, saving the best for last, but that is managing gated deployments for a tier 1 service that constitutes as a normal change and does have to go through a an approval process. So very similar to the same story I just told you guys. We're going to pretend that I am a that I'm a developer and there is a bug in my mobile application. So I'll just say mobile app is down. And now it's my job to make some code change and resolve this bug. So if I jump back over to Bitbucket and I jump to the mobile application repository, I can again commit some code. So we're just going to update my name relatively quickly. This would be exciting if I was a developer, but I'm not. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and commit this. And again, I could reference my ticket key. So I'm just going to say SSP-63. No, 64. And that commit message will show up on that bug ticket again. But a couple of things are happening now. So you guys are going to have to bear with me for 1 second while this is deploying. But remember what I told you that this service, the mobile application service, is actually a tier 1 service requiring a normal change. So In this process, our normal changes do need to go through CAB for approval. And you may be thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, he's not going to submit a change request. He's not going to get approval from CAB. This wasn't an emergency change. What's going to happen? Well, in just a second, once this code deploys, we're going to see that the deployment is actually blocked. So there you go. Right now, it stopped the actual deployment and is saying the change request is pending. So as I'm currently telling you all of this, now automation for Jira is running, pulling all of the relevant information from my tickets and is creating a change request. Very similar to the standard change, but ever so slightly different. So give it just a second. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh my screen here. There we go. So now we saw it just pop up. It says view change request. So we can see the change request that was just automatically created for me. And it's going to show all of that information. It's going to pull the affected service that I was actually making a change on, my mobile application. It's going to specify the change type. Now I can go in, fill out my implementation plan, backout plan, test plan, you name it. But what I'm going to go ahead and do really quickly is let's just say that, yep, this change is good to go. I'm a member of CAB, and I'm going to go ahead and approve this, and it is ready to deploy. So now the ticket has transitioned to awaiting implementation. And I'm going to go ahead and move this to implementing. And this is my favorite part. If I jump back over to Bitbucket, we're going to see that when I updated the status of that ticket, it is automatically deploying that code to our production environment, which is really, really cool. So while I am waiting for this code to deploy, and I'm going to wrap this demo up, I'm going to go ahead and announce the winner of our giveaway today. And apologies if I pronounce your name wrong, but it looks like today's winner is Adonis Prasad. So congratulations on winning that. If you want to go ahead and email my project coordinator, Kylie, she, I think, has just put her email in the chat, and we'll get that sent out to you today. So congrats on that. All right, so wrapping up this demo, the code has been successfully deployed to our production environment. And if I jump back over here to my change request that was submitted for me automatically and refresh my screen, we'll see that when that code was automatically, or when that code was successfully deployed to our production environment, it automatically marked it as, or transitioned the status to completed and set the resolution to done. So pretty cool. I do apologize for having to rush through a couple of these demos, but I do love leaving time for questions. So it looks like we've got a couple of questions here in the chat that I'll go ahead and address, but I hope you guys enjoyed this today. If you do have any questions about anything you saw or anything JSM related, don't hesitate to put them in the chat right now. Or if you want to go ahead and email me, my email is in the chat. So, okay, let's see what we got here. First question, where can we find more info on the asset database objects and what data types are supported? Great question. So I can hint on that a little bit, and then I can pass you some documentation around the assets database. But essentially, you can, let me just start off. There are 4 ways to get, well, 5 ways essentially to get data into the assets database. One is to manually create them. And all of that information is stored as objects, and then the references to the objects are stored as what are called object fields. The other ways to get information into the asset database is via an import. So you can import data from a CSV file. You can create an API connection to a third-party tool or an external app that you're using. You can import files via JSON, or assets for Jira Service Management have a discovery tool built into it. So you can actually run a discovery scan on your network and pull in that CMDB directly into the assets database. And I'll go ahead and show you really quickly what that would kind of look like if you did run the discovery tool on your network. It would pull in, however you set up the scans, but we can see here that all of that would be listed out here. We would see our CPUs, our licenses, our users, our patch, our network switches. All of this information would be brought in. As far as the data types are supported, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that question. I think maybe you were getting at JSON files, CSV files. I'm not sure, but I can follow up with you after this call and maybe provide you some documentation around assets. Okay, next question. Do service desk, incident management, I got a reply. You guys can't see these questions, but I got a reply back. The person that did ask this question was meaning to ask, JSON files, CSV files, things of that nature. So, but the next question is, do service desk, incident management, and change management need to be within the same project to have this interconnectivity? Good question. No. The short answer is no, they do not need to be within the same project. So all Atlassian tools have the ability to seamlessly connect to each other, meaning you can reference and link tickets seamlessly between projects. So if you have an incident, an incident management service desk, that's all you're doing there, you can link that incident to a change request in a completely separate Jira Service Management project. And I'll go ahead and highlight really quickly what that linking looks like. So if I look at one of my change requests that were automatically created for me, things are moving slow today. We'll see down here, give it a second. Come on. That like when I had deployed my my change to or my story that created the change request for adding the payroll to that payroll system, it went ahead and automatically linked the change request to that story in that Jira software project. And you can see that link right here, as well as the status, the priority, who it's assigned to. And then you have the ability to quickly navigate back and forth between the two tickets just by clicking the link. So the short answer to that second question was no, these processes do not have to live within the same project to be interconnected. Looks like we have another question. Do approvers support Boolean operations and or for multiple approvers? I'm going to do my best to see what you're getting at there. So I think you're asking, can you require more than one approvers or a dynamic group of approvers? The short answer is yes. Yes, it depends, I think, is a better answer. So approvers for Jira Service Management can be one specific person. It could be one specific person from a large group of people. It could be 4 people out of 7 people within a Jira group, right? So if you have a group of 7 and you need a minimum of 4 approvers, you can facilitate that. You can also have multiple approval steps within your workflow, meaning it goes through phase 1 of approvals, phase 2 of approvals, phase 3, and it's all different groups of people. I hope that that answers your question. They said that that did answer their question. So really great questions. That's all I have. We've got about 3 minutes left. I'll hang out for another minute or two and see if another question comes in, but I do want to say that I appreciate your guys' time today. I hope you learned something. And if you are interested in content like this, we have a whole host of webinars on our website, which is probably where you found this. Feel free to sign up for those. And if you're considering using Jira Service Management at any capacity, we do have a Jira Service Management Bootcamp, which is a 2-day hands-on class, 8 hours a day, where we get you guys into a test environment, a sandbox environment, and you have exercises assigned to you throughout those days. So you'll walk away having never heard of Jira Service Management and be able to build and administer a service desk by the end of that second day. So if that's something that's interested to you, that is listed out on our website, and it looks like we just dropped the link to that in the chat. So I'm not seeing any other questions come across, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. But if you sit around and you think about all this for a little bit longer and you do have a question, feel free to take my email from the chat and send me any questions that you might have. Have a wonderful rest of your day.